Привет из Сингапура. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где обсуждаем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about lending and let's start with the definition.
Lending, or in proper way, landing page. This is a kind of small website which is dedicated to product or to event. When you have an action, when you have some small period of advertisement, or you should or trying to test the market, you could create a small landing and to understand if your product will have a good demand. For example, you are a startupper and you build an application or some service or trying to sell some good. You are building landing, you put the prices, you put the advantages, you put the response of the user of good you're offering, and you see how many people organically come to your site or use some sort of text request, and you could understand how to improve your landing. Maybe it is about color, it is about font, it is about some pictures, about videos or some metaphors. And if you are going to develop your landing in 5 or 6 months, you will create a full-scale website instead of this short and small representation in internet.
And when it comes to the key principles that define the good, efficient lending or maybe building blocks that it might consist of, what are they?
Usually have a main menu with 5 points, which will lead the person who will visit the landing page on another screen. So, for example, you have 5 items in main menu, and then you have 5 blocks. If you put on the first item, you will get the first screen. If you put on the third, your screen will be roll out and you will see the third one. So you have like a stripe on the same page. You have several divisions with different intention, and usually the last one or pre-last, it's about selling. There are several configurators, several prices and buttons. I want to buy or I want to buy it in credit.
When it comes to the levels of mastery, and I do believe it's also might be different types of the metrics or even the dimensions or skills that we might be talking about. Like, for example, it could be marketing, it could be design, it could be some sort of like an innovative or maybe something very techy. So what are they starting from the very novice?
If you will put your landing for the very first time, you do not know what to write in it. You don't know copywriting. You don't know how to make the design, how to put something. So you will buy a template, a small template. You just fill some stripes, and you will get your result. What is wrong with it? You will be making a landing, and everyone who know this better than you will understand that you are novice, you are rookie. Second level, you will buy something more useful or ask someone who made in landing page generators or develop some tools, and they will make something which is hidden from the eyes of other. If you will use WordPress or Tilda, will be very ground level. But if you are going to Joomla or some other constructors, you will be having more proficient way. You will look much better. And on the last level, you could create a landing which is very similar to site that has a limited number of pages. It is different pages, but they are well rotated and when well linked. So it is looking like a small site, but who knows the size? It is working, and maybe it was created like 10 years ago, maybe 10 days ago.
There's also a way of doing things right or maybe doing things wrong. So when it comes to the mistakes that creators of the landing page make, what are they and how to try to avoid them in advance?
A lot of people want to impress someone, and they are trying to make a very strange gamma. For example, they put on the red background blue font, and it is impossible to read. There is a saying in Russian like "вырви глаз," take your eye out. Yes.
People would say my eyes are bleeding of blood.
Yes, correct. It's much better. My eyes are bleeding. Second mistake, people are trying to write something very tricky, like this is unimpossible, this is unbelievable, this is fantastic, but no one believes to such a thing. Everyone is understanding. If you sell something, you will say just good about it. So you will not tell everyone truth about disadvantages. And the third kind of mistake, this to make your landing very heavy, a lot of photos, a lot of videos, and they are trying to be uploaded immediately. You should use so-called lazy loading regimes.
And when it comes to using like anything original or anything more like text-sided in order to make it appealing, what could be probably possible solutions, and maybe I could give some of the examples. There was a product like maybe 7 years ago called Pen Paper 53, and they were promoting a pen. So when you scroll down to the page, you will see how the pen getting constructing with every scroll and how exactly it made. Or another from another company example, there was a separate landing page where you actually could play with a music instrument and like create some sort of music. And the moment you want to save, you will be funneled to this form that will collect your emails and stuff. So what are the mechanics or maybe tricks or maybe another things that the one would use in order to attract more attention of the users in order to convert them to the customers?
First trick is limitation. For example, you are getting to the landing page which make correction of your grammar or make translation. You put one text, another, and everything is going well, and you did not note that there are some counters, and suddenly you get a final notice. You have already spent 10 hours with us, and your limit is access. You will not be served without payment. So you are already used to this service. You like it. You was definitely working with it, and suddenly they ask money. Another way to also to trick you, when you are looking at the site, for example, more than 30 seconds, and you will try to go to another page, suddenly you will have a small window, and there would be written, we couldn't lose you. You have already spent on our site in total for this year so many times. We will give you discount for 50%. Or maybe another kind of trick, it's called lead magnet. When you are trying to calculate something, to write a music, as you told before, or something else, you will try to make, for example, questionnaire, but on the final stage, you will be asked to give an email. And if you will not provide the right email, you will not get the password. If you will not type the password or checking code, you will not get the result of your job, of your work.
And when it comes to the tracking of the outcomes on the landing page, because obviously probably the point would be to let the user see the information, educate them about certain possibilities, and maybe gently and slowly make them to make the payment or press specific buttons. So what should be an approach of measuring results, or maybe even conducting a different type of the micro experiments on the landing page?
There are a lot of instruments which are internal and could be used, but there are also limitations. For example, I like so-called similar website, but it is not collecting the information for sites which have less than 5,000 unique users per month. But there are also one trick. If you just build a landing, and if you spend, for example, not more than 2 weeks, the similar web will collect even for such a small site for 3 months information. It's quite enough to make the measurement. But if you are going to make A/B testing, then you need some other instruments, the counters from Google, from Yandex, or even your own written. You should use some different way to distribute different kind of landing between your visitor. For example, the odd one will got blue page. The четный, нечетный, odd, and
Even.
on even will get, I don't know, red one.
And in terms of the skills that the one will need to have in order to build the successful landing pages, what is the set?
No one knows if your landing will fly or not. This depends not just from your text, from your technology stack which are using while developing. It's also dependent how many people will be hooked. You could use a clickbait, and this would be a lie. For example, you will say that you will make something unusual in their life, and they will come to your site, and then you will have a very huge so-called bounce rate. People are coming to your landing page and then jumping out of it because it is terrible, it is unuseful, and all search systems in very short period will pessimize your landing and will not lead customers to you. Another way, you, for example, will make it too heavy with great photos, with huge videos, and some three-dimensional journeys. It is nice to have when you have a very speed broadband internet, but when you're, for example, in rural areas, it will not work, it will not load. People do not want to wait your landing to be uploaded more than 2 seconds. Even Google right now will not give your landing a chance when it is have less than 60 points on page side.
And when it comes to building a personal landing, so what could be specifics here if the one wants to, like get noticed and, get some sort of like a contract or whatever. So what kind of methods they should use in order to make this landing efficient for them?
There are just several ways to be efficient on a personal landing. First, you should have a great photo. People like to see eyes, to see lips, and you should be smiling. You should be very cosmetically well prepared. Second, you should put use of yours on the front. So you should write what are you doing, why you are a specialist, and why your expertise is worth to share with other peoples. And third block, it could be response from people who were using your skills and they were happy. But also maybe there could be a rider. Rider, it's short document which describe what you need to work, or maybe you will describe the process, how you work usually.
Last question will be how knowing about lending could help to make this world a better place.
Lending right now is do not worth to be learned because time already is lost. It was a time like 15 years ago when internet was small and each company or some persons, they want to have small visit cards in internet. And there was a saying, if you has no lending, you are not present in real life, which was for sure not true. Right now, not many people like lending because it was spoiled by info gypsies. They are selling some tickets for their events. They make a lot of information pollution. And now, for example, in America, in Russia, in other countries, lending, it is a sign of недостоверной информации.
Not trustworthy.
Not trustworthy information. Yes, correct. Thank you.
А мы рассмотрели навык лендинг и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира.